You can't underestimate what happened in 2020, because what happened was, a way of saying it, is a shock to the system. So we have an economic system. You have your business is a system. A lot of our work is based on systems thinking. And so in your company, you have systems and processes. And your company itself is a system. It's not an entity, it's not like a solid entity, it's a system. And there's the way the system interacts with each other is itself a system. Our body is a system, healthy or unhealthy system. And literally, when your body gets sick, it experiences a shock. And that happened to a lot of us who got COVID. I know that happened for me. Oh my God, day one of COVID. Whoa. And there are people that had a lot worse than me. And I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. It's like such a shock to your system. It just knocks you out. It shocks you. It's painful. And then it lays you out. And you're just out for days, for some of us weeks, and for some people for much longer than that. Well, our businesses and our economy experienced a shock. And so with sickness, you get shocked and it knocks you out. And the symptoms that we experience are inflammation. Our body inflames. Very interesting that our economic system has inflamed. It's inflated. It has literally inflamed after a complete shock and shutdown. And so now it's inflamed. And of course, there's going to be some systemic repercussions, because that's how systems work. They work more like waves than linear lines. That something happens to the system, and then there's repercussions, and there's repercussions, and there's repercussions. And we don't know what those repercussions are going to be. And I think that what's really popular in our world is trying to create certainty based on the past. And so you'll hear all of these economists talking about, this is the way it's going to be because this is how it is. I'm an economist. And then one really good way to fact check that is just to go Google the opposite perspective and realize, wow, there are completely opposite perspectives. So a lot of what's going on is we actually don't know what's going on. The inflammation is happening. Our system is responding, is trying to recalibrate, and it's going to recalibrate in ways we've never experienced before. And that's probably the only fact, is that the level of uncertainty we're experiencing might be greater than we've ever experienced in our lives. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's other times when there's been some uncertainty, but it's pretty high. We do not know what the future holds. So every single business in the world right now is experiencing the shock and the inflammation, and then an attempt at recalibrating inside of something very new. And how do we heal that system and create something new so that it's robust and vital in a very uncertain time? There's a Harvard professor named Ron Heifetz who coined the terms adaptive challenges and technical challenges. A technical challenge is a challenge that has an immediate fix. Somebody can fix it. Maybe it doesn't happen right away, but there's some experts out there who can fix it. You got a car problem, take it to the good mechanic. Don't take it to the bad mechanic. You want the best mechanic you can find. Technical problem. You probably have a piece of software break. There's a great engineer out there who can fix it for you. An adaptive challenge is one where everyone who's involved in the system has to learn how to work together differently, because there isn't a known solution. So the world we're in, the businesses that we're in, are inside of a great adaptive challenge, a great shift in understanding of what it takes to do great work. That doesn't mean that you can't do great work, but one, you can be risk aware without collapsing into concern-driven behavior. In my practice that I bring into any executive team I'm working with who's overly concerned about the risk of the future based on what they read in Bloomberg, or based on just fear, is, all right, what are your concerns? Let's write them all out. What are the concerns? Well, the concern is that we're going to go into recession, the economy is going to contract, we're not going to be able to XXX. That's the concern. It's valid. It doesn't mean that it's not a real thing. But behind every concern is a commitment. There is some commitment that you're committed to, that you're concerned isn't going to happen. So what's the concern? What is the commitment behind that concern? So for example, if I have a concern that I'm going to run out of money, my concern will drive me. I don't want to run out of money, so I'm going to do everything I can to not run out of money. But what am I really committed to? I'm committed to the vitality and well-being of my family. Okay, I'm concerned I'm going to run out of money has me operating in one way. I'm concerned I'm going to run out of money. I'm going to do everything I can to prevent losing a lot of money. I'm committed to the well-being and vitality of my family. Okay, what are ways that I'm going to create that and make that happen despite the circumstances? How do I make that? I'm committed to that. The same thing happens inside of an executive team. You're dealing with the same phenomenon. Anxiety is starting to take over a lot of the teams that we're working with. A lot of anxiety. Anxiety is it's like a worm that goes through your mind and starts to create the story. And then you tell the story of anxiety, and then you're just operating out of reactivity. And so you got a lot of concerns. You got to write them all out. What are all of our concerns? And what is the commitment that has us concerned that we're not going to fulfill? And get clear on the commitment, and then start to say, okay, what do we need to do to move towards the commitment we have? We know the circumstances are the way they are. What do we do to get to what we're committed to?